I'm going to share with you all the art pieces I have around my house. Uh, I'm a geomancy builder, and so are you. So basically, a geomancy builder arranges the house like an altar, right? So we can think of it like feng shui, where you basically create your house as a great yogi would create a school, right? A house of study and a house of meditation and a home of bliss, right? Or like a temple. So your home should vibrate the cosmos, right? So I like to put art pieces that I have made in particular corners of the house, right, or in places, right, to create these angles, right, these angles in the house where you walk in, you visually see these particular angles that have this resonance to them, right. So when we go into our house, it should feel like we're going into, for example, like Stonehenge. Right? When you walk into Stonehenge, you could feel the angles of of energy that's emitting, right, from the monolithic stone formation. So your house should feel like a sacred site. It should feel like you are creating basically a geometric portal, right, or geometric vortex that emits immense energy, right? When we go in our house, it should feel like we're going to a temple or some sort of powerhouse, right? Literally a powerhouse where you can get charged up. Right, our house should not be something you go into and then you look around and you just feel blah, or it feels boring, or it feels draining, or right, or it feels very, 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 very barren, like it's bleak, right? It's sterile of life, right? Or stoic. A lot of people have very stoic houses where there's no energy, right? You go in and there's just a bunch of pictures of nothing that really has any energy to it, right? You go in and it's stoic. Right, so our house should basically be a mirror or window into possibility, right? It should be just like when you go into a temple, you're looking at the deities. Like if you go into like a Ganesh temple, you look at the deities, and basically you're looking to the eyes, the window to possibility, right? For manifestation, or for creativity, or for healing, or for self-expression. So your house should be like you're walking into. For me, I like it to be like I'm walking into an art gallery, right? That's kind of just me, right? It's kind of my Pisces sort of spirit, or my Pisces soul. So I like it to be like an art gallery. And I like my home to be basically to basically be a renaissance, right? To showcase what I'm working on in this life, what I'm healing, what I'm learning, and what I'm improving in this life, right? So it really showcases the powerhouse, right? The powerhouse of creativity for me, right? So I tend to have a lot of it kind of is like a beast. It's a beast. And some people it's very neat and there's nothing, right? There's a lot of simplicity sort of home designs, which is kind of along the feng shui practice or the Taoism, where you have basically nothing, right? But some places in particular positions, and I love that, right? But then you go out the doors into the courtyard, right, of a lot of these sort of Taoist homes, and then there's beautiful like fountain and beautiful just trees and just beautiful flowers and just the way everything, the landscape is so beautiful, right? So that your tiny little house with nothing in it, it like doesn't matter because you go outside and you're like, oh my god, like this whole landscape is beautiful, and not just in like a beauty as in like you cut the lawn and you chop it up. No, it's like beautiful, like in a way, like you go into a forest and it's untouched and it's totally natural. It's totally natural. That's the kind of landscape that you see with this, even a lot of like the sort of Shinto shrine sort of traditions we see like in Japan, and this, the simplistic culture, minimalist, very, very beautiful landscape, right? Even though the homes can be very small and nothing, right? Compared to our American, we have stuff shoved in our attic and our basement and our garage, and there's stuff shoved everywhere and in our closets, and it's just like, ugh, right? So for me, I don't like stuff, right? I'm more of a minimalist, but I do love my home, and I want my home to look like a forest, to basically have that sort of landscape, the Japanese sort of practice of living, right? Home, right? Having a homestead. And I would like to have that sort of landscape in my house, right? That whole sort of, going, it's almost like you're taking a nature walk, right? Literally, your home to me, my home, I want it to be like a nature walk. It gives you that same sort of vibe of like forest bathing, except you're bathing with art, right? So, and we know in a lot of therapy, like medical therapy for anxiety or for pain or for recovery, a lot of therapy is forest bathing, right? And these Asian this Asian tradition, right? Forest bathing. So there's a lot of trails that are dedicated to a therapy to help people. And these trees are well preserved and they're well protected. The whole landscape, the whole forest is natural, and it's completely untouched by plastic and trash and all this sort of stuff that if we can't shove it in our basement or attic or garage, we just tend to it just sort of finds its way into the street or finds its way into the trash, and then finds its way somewhere else, right, in the river, kind of thing. So I'm going to share with you, these are the pieces I have in my house currently, right, to create that geomancy. So geo is like earth, right, we're creating, right, the earth, we're bringing earth, right, the fruitfulness, the abundance of earth, like a forest, right, into the home, right. When you look at trees, it's like a feng shui to a T, right. The trees are all in this nice sort of feng shui position where all the trees can breathe, they can relax. Even when you go into the jungle, like the Amazon jungle, where the trees are basically on top of each other, it's still very geometrically sound. Or if it's not geometrically sound, it's like nature finds a way, and it'll like move things around, right? It will literally move things around to make it more geometrically sound, because when it is more geometrically sound, there tends to be a lot more abundance, and it tends to be a lot more smooth, right? Smooth transition between life, death, and rebirth, right? Rather than when there's stagnant areas, when there's blockages in like the jungle, that tends to be the area where there's a lot of disease. There's a lot of, you could say, there's a lot of disease. There's a lot of bacteria that's accumulating there, and over time, it can create a buildup, right? In these areas that are not geometrically sound, there can be disease. There's more bacteria that's building up, right? There's more sort of pollutant that sort of accumulates there, like toxins and waste and all that kind of stuff. So geometrically sound will reorganize to really smooth out and clear out those sort of stagnant blocked areas in the forest or the jungle, so that there can be more circulation, so that the bacteria doesn't get clumpy, it doesn't build up, and then it doesn't sort of destroy a portion of the forest, right, with disease or that kind of thing, so that the energy can circulate, so that everything can get a nice sort of circulation, right, between death, life, death, and rebirth, right? That's the same thing with our home. Some people have a lot of stagnancy in their attics, in their basement, in their garages, in their homes, or it's just stagnant energy, where it's just blocked energy, so the chi can't circulate and it gets trapped in these areas, and then it creates a vortex of entrapped energy, and then people don't realize, like, right, that that affects you, because you're living in that, right? You're living in that, so your aura is taking it in. Your aura is basically, when you sleep, it kind of aligns to the vibration of the home. So if your vibration of the home, it has a lot of stagnant, blocked energies in your attic, garage, basement, you bet that's going to affect you. You're going to feel it in your aura because you're sensitive. You're going to feel it. So make your house like a renaissance. Don't make it like a hoard house. Don't make it like a storage unit, right? Don't make it like some sort of, grandma, grandpa sort of history, going down the history kind of house, right? Make it something that actually represents what you are, what you want to be in this life, what you want to learn, what you want to study, what you're working on, what is prosperity. Put that in the house, right? What's going to get you focused? What's going to get you concentrated? When you wake up, you see it, you're like, okay, right, I got to do it. Like, what's going to motivate you? Your home is like the greatest sort of motivator, right? Your temple. Even if you have like a little tiny home, like a little boxy home with nothing, you can still make that so magnetically motivating. And you can also, even a home has nothing but like a plants, is a lot more magnetically, geometrically sound, because the plants are positioned in this sort of this flow, this there's a lot of momentum and a lot of velocity to this flow, right? It becomes a portal, a window into high amount of energy. That is a lot more geometrically sound than a house that has, all this stuff there, but then it's not even connected to the stuff's not connected. There is no meaning to it. Like it has no soul, it has no energy to it. It's stoic. It's just kind of sitting there. Right? The simple house is a lot more geometrically sound for a lot of people than just the buildup of memories. A house as a buildup of memories. And we don't want memories. We don't want to carry memories, because that's not what we're about. Right? We're about creating. Creating is not a memory. Right? Creating is about a forward movement. It's a movement. When we think of a movement in history, any sort of movement, a movement in spirituality, movement in science, a movement in reform, right? It's about movement forward. It's not about the memories and the memories, right? It's like, I'm done with the memories. Let's movement. Let's be more imaginative. Let's think of new ideas. Let's move ourselves in new ways, right? So your house should be a movement, right? Just like a movement of spirituality, or a movement in politics, or a movement in education. Your house should be like a movement, right? Because that's what's going to propel you forward, because we're about potentiating. And that's why we do back bends, right? We do forward back bends, we do back bends, right? We do back bends because we're about potentiating, right? We're not about living in the memory and then getting so calcified and hard in the memory where we don't even know what's out there for us. We don't even know how to move anymore. We don't even know how to take chances, or how to open up, or how to even invite in new fresh energy, because we're so hard and calcified. You talk about a hard person where they walk around like this, the whole that kind of thing. That means that there's no movement in their life, right? Or they look very unfulfilled and dissatisfied, and there's no energy, and they look stoic, or they look like, just blah, bored, just bored, right? So a home, it should be a momentum. Like, you go to Stonehenge and you're just like, ooh, okay, I got a download of something, right? It should feel like you're getting some sort of download. And also, planting mantras into the house really kind of opens up the natural sort of magnetism of the home. And it also can clear out the sort of residue, because, homes carry residue, right, of other people and, other families. So also mantras are a way to kind of clear out the residue of other people, right, and what they've been doing, right? Because you don't know what they've been doing, but let's say they their house was basically a hoard house. There's a residue. There's a vibrational frequency that still, even though the stuff is gone, that still kind of remains, unless you kind of use a mantra to basically blaze it, right? Move it out. And so I'm going to show you the paintings now. So this is one I have. It's called this is a portal to other planetary systems, we'll say. This is one of my favorite, because it's a portal. Very strong sort of portal. I have this one. This one's about love, right? It's about love. See that? I have this one in my home. It's about love. I have this one, nature, right? kind of again, they're all portals. It's a portal to love. It's a portal to nature. It's a portal to interdimensional, interstellar, access. This is all portals. It's like you look at it and you're brought into a reality. You're brought into an experience of that. This is what I call portal to higher imagination, right? Kind of like the inner child, right? It's kind of my inner child. And this one's a portal to my tribe. Native American brothers. So, portal into what it means to be a tribe, what it means to have a tribe. So when I look at that, there's a warm feeling, right? So it's called a guide. This is a Octorian guide. Right? Again, it's a portal. You're inspired. Also, it's about being, electromagnetic field. It's about the electromagnetic field. And then these ones are mandalas that I've created over time. I have this in my house. They're all about very much the earth element, right? The elemental, right? About being grounded, connected to the earth, in respect, reverence to earth. So you could do you feel the resonance? Do you feel the adjustment? It's altering your psyche, it's altering your spirit, your energy, your life force. And this is the last one that I have. I have this right near my prosperity, and this one's kind of like a guardian, right? I have it right near my prosperity. It's like a master, all right, an ally, a watchful friend, an ally. So, thank you for joining me. And again, I'm sharing this with you guys so you can kind of create a more magnetic house, right? Whatever that is. It could be minimalist where you have nothing in your house but plants and a bed and, a little table for a little tea, right? You like plants, so you love plants, right? Or crystals, right? Or you want your house to look like a Renaissance, right? You want a lot of culture in your house. But the last thing we don't need a bunch of memories. We don't need a bunch of build-up, stuff, build-up of attic, basement, garage. I don't know, I see so much stuff. It's like, whoa. And we don't need a stoic, right? Or like a fixed house, a set house. The house should be very much energetically fluid. Chi, right? Chi is about constant, it's a movement. Right? It's about potentiating yourself forward, right? Potentiating yourself forward is about inspiration, motivation. It's about sort of, ahead of the trend, the front runner. So your house should almost feel intuitively ahead of you, right? It should feel like 3 to 9 seconds ahead of your current, your current state of spiritual growth. And so your future should be like a portal into your future version of yourself. And you're just sort of creating the preface to your prosperity and that being realized. So my home is like a preface to basically my future version of myself. So it's nothing to do with the memory of the past, nothing about history, about my past. It can give reverence, right? Alter with the mother frequency and the father lineage. But overall, it's about me, right? It's about me, or it's about your family and your lineage, right? And it's about the evolution of me or the family, right? The lineage. And kind of what direction is this house moving us in. So your house is like a spaceship. And your spaceship is going somewhere. So the geomancy of your home kind of creates the sort of blueprint or the map to where you're going. So you think of your home as a spaceship, or your room, or whatever corner or altar, right, that you can create, right? see it as like a spaceship that's bringing you into your future version. And what does that look like? And what does that vibrate? What is that prosperity that of the future of yourself that's pulling you, potentiating like a portal or a tunnel into that? Like it should feel like you're being brought or shocked into, right, into your future self, right? Where you're most creative, or you've got the things that you want, or you got the experiences, right? Put that in, download it now, so that you can get comfortable with it, so you can get used to it, so you can start to magnetize your aura to those experiences that you want to have, right? So I have vision boards in corners of my house. I have many altars of like yogi bhajan. I have altar of intention setting. I have like a moon area. I have like new moon, full moon. Make it your house ecstatic, right? And it's simple. You don't need to buy, $5,000 crystals, right? Or mostly what we need to do is get rid of stuff. It's not so much add stuff. It's get rid of stuff. You'll actually find when you get rid of stuff, it's just you feel like you have more room in your diaphragm to breathe, right? It's more so elimination, because in American culture we have so much buildup. Western culture, right? We have so much buildup that we adding more stuff would just be irrelevant. Like it just wouldn't do anything. It's more about eliminating, opening up the space, and then putting in these sort of super magnetic item, or super magnetic, you know, art piece or crystal, right? Or some sort of prayer flags, or just some sort of artistry or rich culture, and put it in. For example, I have a tanka from made by Yogi Bhajan, designed by Yogi Bhajan, and that's a piece of paper basically, but it has a culture associated, a rich culture, not a dull, dud, stoic culture that's about a bunch of memories and about reverent, revenge or whatever that is. Talk rich culture that has artistry, that has depth, right? So that I have that, so I feel really deep, right? Deep waters. So, you can even be, I have a picture of like a yantra, right? A gold sort of mantra, yantra, right? That I have just in a corner by itself. And that literally puts you, right? It's rich. It's a rich culture, right? Yantra, that whole practice, expression is very rich, right? When we think of, I have, what else do I have? I can put flowers, right? We're rich with culture, right? The whole flower queendom is very, very, very rich, very royal, right? Very, very regal sort of energy. Um, Books, right? I have books area that when I look at this sort of book section, this bookcase, where I look at that and see all the books of all the authors that I love, right? And it inspires me to write, right? Creative write, right? I have a section of oracle cards that just makes me feel like, okay, create, like, wow, I feel inspired to paint, or to, pull a card, or, to read, or something like that, right? So, it's time to get to work, right? And when you say get to work with your house, it's craftsmanship. It's like, right? Just like any Native American place, right? Native American home. I mean, everything was about craftsmanship. Everything was made with reverence and respect and love, right? The homes, the canoes, the bowls, the spoons, um, everything, the clothing, the shoes, the jewelry of the Native Americans. I mean, the jewelry, was, oh my gosh, you just touch it and you just feel so much love, right? Because literally items, they basically have their vibration. As we know, everything has a vibration, right? So your home, I want my home to kind of remind me of my Native American lineage. So I make it such, right? What is that? What is a Native American like home, right? And the times before the Europeans. What does that feel like to me? And I create that. Like for example, I'm a sort of seafaring person, right? My grandfather and grandmother come from a seafaring sort of background, right? Living by the water and sailing and being individuals in the Navy and these kinds of things. So for me, in going even further back, that Native American home, like what would that look like? How would I feel, right? To have jewelry or to have clothing or to have plants and wood making and just art and bowls and tea and all these kinds of things. Create that. I create that in this home to basically potentiate myself into that destiny that I want, right? Which is I want to be really in tune with my Native American side. So I create that here and now to push me to do what I need to do to align with that future of myself, where I am this woman, right? This woman with this I've aged by all the experiences and wisdom that I've went through, right? And I'm aged, but it's a beautiful aged person. So, thank you for joining me in Satnam.